house has been sitting on the market for weeks. Showings are slow. The offers, if you're getting any, feel low. You might be thinking it's all because of interest rates or because of the market. And to be fair, the market is tough right now. But in most cases, that's not the full story. In this video, I want to walk you through the 4 big reasons Toronto homes are not selling in this market and what you can actually do about it so your listing doesn't end up stale and forgotten about. What is up, beautiful people? My name is Matt Moy, a full-time real estate agent here in the Greater Toronto area. And I spend a lot of time in the TREP statistics and in real negotiations. So what I'm sharing with you is exactly what I'm seeing on the ground right now. Here's what we'll cover. Why pricing is the first place people go wrong. Why as is basically code for discount right now. How weak marketing kills your listing before buyers even step inside, and why being so rigid with your showings and negotiations is quietly costing you money. At the end, I'll give you a simple plan for the next 6 to 12 months if you're thinking about selling your home in the Greater Toronto area. Now, before we get into mistake number 1, if you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months and you don't want your listing sitting on the market, book a free 15-minute discovery call with me. The link is down in the description, or there's a QR code right here on the screen. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, so let's quickly set the stage so you understand the environment that you're selling into. As of October 2025, Greater Toronto home sales were down about 9.5% year over year, while new listings were up about 2.7%. The average selling price was about 1.05 million, down just over 7% compared to last year. So what does this all mean in plain English? Buyers have more choice. There are more homes to pick from, fewer buyers competing, and prices have really pulled back. Condos have taken the biggest hit though, in many pockets of the GTA. In a lot of resale condo markets, the average price is sitting in the mid 600,000s, and that's down roughly 5% year over year and around 20% from the peak of 2022, depending on the area. So if you're selling, you're not dealing with the 2021 or early 2022 buyer anymore. You're dealing with a very cautious buyer who's very focused on affordability and is not afraid to just walk away. That is why your listing is sitting. It's usually not just the market. It's more often one of these 4 mistakes. Mistake number 1. That's the pricing delusion. In a hot market, you could try a number and see what happens. If you were a bit too high enough, buyers were still willing to show up. That's not how it works anymore. Today, if your home is clearly overpriced, buyers just skip past it. They don't bother to come see it, make an offer, and see what happens. They move on to the next property that feels like better value. The average Greater Toronto price is down just over 7% compared to last year, and roughly 15 to 20% from the 2022 peak, depending on the segment and area. But a lot of sellers are still anchored to what their neighbor got in early 2022. That market is gone. Goodbye. It was driven by very low interest rates and a lot of emotion. Here's the part most sellers don't realize. Your list price today is not just a number, it's your ad. It decides how many people even give your home a chance. If your home hits the market and in the first 7 to 10 days, you have very few showings, no second showings, and 0 offers, that's the market telling you the price is off. And the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. Once buyers see that days on market is climbing, they assume something is wrong with the house, or that you're unrealistic and not serious. That's when you end up chasing the market down with multiple price reductions, and often selling for less than if you had just priced it correctly from day one. So what should you do instead? Work with your agent to look at the most recent sales in the last 30 to 60 days. And that's just in your micro area. You also want to look at the homes that are currently on the market competing with you and how buyers will see your home side by side in that list. Then price it so that you're in the top 2 or 3 options of buyers would shortlist, not the one they use as proof that the others are better value. A small reality check on price now is almost always cheaper than multiple reductions later. Mistake number 2, the as-is fallacy. Trying to sell your home as is in this market usually reads discount in the minds of many buyers. Today's buyer is already stretched by mortgage payments and higher living costs. They don't have the time, money, or energy for a long list of projects. So when they see the scuffed walls, old carpet, loose handles, burnt out light bulbs, and the obvious minor repairs, they don't say, "That's $2,000 worth of work." They mentally round up, they see 10,000, 20,000, big job. To you, it might mean nothing. And they compare your home to a similar one that's move-in ready. And guess which one wins? Your job is to remove reasons to walk away. Here's a simple prep plan I use with sellers. First, declutter and depersonalize. Pack away 50 to 70% of the visible items in your home, extra furniture, personal photos, collections, kids' arts on the fridge. You're moving anyways, so think of it as starting early. Second, deep clean and fix the obvious things. Clean like you've never cleaned before. Walls, baseboards, vents, windows, light switches. Fix the loose door handles. Touch up paint. Replace burnt light bulbs. Deal with small leaks. Third, focus on key rooms. Buyers make emotional decisions in the kitchen, bathroom, main living area, and primary bedroom. Those places should feel bright, neutral, and calm. Fourth, take staging seriously. Professional staging is not about making the place look pretty. It's about showing buyers how each space works and helping them feel like I can live here. In older homes around Toronto, small cosmetic upgrades can distract from the age in a good way. Fresh paint, modern light fixtures, and clean lines go a long way. Trying to save a few thousand by skipping prep usually costs you more in price reductions and lowball offers. Mistake number 3 is marketing mirage. A lot of sellers think, put it on the MLS, put a sign in the lawn, job done. In 2026, that's not a strategy. That's just the minimum. The first showing for your home happens on a phone screen. If you lose the buyer there, they never even step inside. Here's what I'm seeing go wrong all the time. Dark, grainy photos, clutter in every shot, no sense of layout, generic descriptions that say nothing about how it feels to live there. You're not just competing with other resale homes. You're competing with polished photos and videos from new construction and pre-construction projects that are very well marketing. At a minimum, you want professional photography. If your agent shows up with a phone and says, I'll take the photos, that's a red flag. A good photographer understands angles, lighting, and how buyers scroll. You also want video or a solid virtual tour. A video walkthrough or 3D tour lets buyers understand the flow before they even book a showing. Serious buyers use this to narrow their list. And you want a description that sells the lifestyle. The write-up should talk about why the street or building works, access to transit, parks, schools, daily errands, and what living there actually feels like day to day. Not just 3-bed, 3-bath, hardwood floors. Here's a small insight from being in this every day. The first 3 photos matter the most. Most buyers decide in a second or 2 whether they'll click through or swipe away. If those first 3 photos don't hook them, they'll never see the rest. So if your home is sitting, go back and look at your listing on your phone and ask yourself, honestly, would I book a showing on this? Mistake number 4 is the rigidity trap. Being too rigid shows up in 2 main ways. First, making it hard to show the home. If buyers can only view on very specific days or times, you will lose showings. A serious buyer might be available on a Tuesday afternoon. If your listing says weekends only, 2 to 4 p.m., they'll just shortlist something else. I know it's annoying to keep the house clean and be out for showings, especially with kids or pets, but the more flexible you are in the first 1 to 2 weeks, the better your odds. Second, digging in too hard on negotiations. Right now, the numbers are clear. Sales are down, listings are up, prices are down year over year. Buyers know they have options. If you refuse to budge on price or won't consider reasonable conditions, many buyers just walk away. They don't want the drama. They're gonna wait for a fair deal. Now, this doesn't mean you give your home away. It means you decide your real bottom line before you list. Understand what's normal to negotiate in your price band and focus on the full package. Price, closing date, conditions, and certainty. A small price concession today is often better than chasing the market down for the next 2 to 3 months. If you're thinking about selling in the next year, here's how I'd approach it in this market. First, get clear on your numbers early. Look at what similar homes have actually sold for in the last 30 to 60 days. How your next outstanding mortgage, penalties, and next purchase fit into that, and what you need versus what you'd like to get. This helps you avoid emotional decisions when the first offer comes in. Second, start prepping sooner than you think. If you're even 3 to 6 months out, start decluttering, making small repairs, and updating paint and lighting in key areas. Spreading Spreading this out over time makes it much less stressful and usually cheaper. Third, timing your listing around competition, not headlines. Everyone loves the idea of waiting for the market to bounce back. The honest truth from the data, prices are down from the peak and have been under pressure as rates have stayed high. There's no firm sign that 2022 prices are coming back anytime soon. Instead of trying to perfectly time the top, think about when you can present the home at its best, when your life timing makes the most sense, and how many similar listings you're up against in your area. Sometimes the best move is being the best prepared, best price listing in a quieter week, rather than chasing some perfect moment. Fourth, pick an agent who is honest about price and process. You don't need someone who tells you what you want to hear. You need someone who's going to show you the actual stats, help you price for this market, not 2022, help you prepare and market the property properly, and negotiate firmly but realistically. Selling a home in the GTA right now is not easy, but it's also not impossible. Most listings that sit too long are making one or more of these mistakes. Either the price doesn't reflect today's reality, the home is not properly prepared, the marketing is weak, or the seller is just too rigid on showings or negotiations. Now, the good news is that every single one of those is fixable. And if you're starting to think, okay, if this place sells, where do we go next? In this one, I walked through 7 GTA suburbs that are quietly setting up for a really strong upsizing window in 2026 that most buyers aren't even looking at yet. Check it out.